Sup amigos, it's Tello here, back to you with another video for today. I hope everyone's having a damn good one. In today's video, we actually want to give you guys an update. In the first 2 days of MoP, I would say roughly around 17 to 18 hours, your boy has actually hit level 90. I have maxed out, done everything I can, and I'm working on professions now, trying to find the fastest ways of getting through certain zones, finding really good hyper spawns, finding the best materials to really maximize my profits and make a lot of money, right? And I would say right now, just to unhide the UI here, in the start of me playing, I would say when I started the other day, I was around 30k gold, and we winded up being around 40k gold. So we made 10k gold alone just from the questing journey. And we winded up starting, obviously, in Jade Forest, where everybody was. And obviously, the fucking helicopter place was a shit show. It was a complete lag fest. But once we managed to get out of the village, work our way up north, eventually, we came to winding up from farming from the Jade Forest, making our way to the Valley of the Four Winds, questing from the right all the way to the left, and then hitting Karasang Wilds, which was basically the 3 zones that really started showing us a lot of profits, because one of the biggest things that we're dropping was a lot of Windwool Cloth too, and these things are going for a lot of money right now. And once we started, focusing our professions much later on, I really started to notice that instead of like doing the dungeons, because dungeons are really good, but they can be really slow depending on like, the tank you're playing with, and if the person knows what they're doing, right? That's another thing that can affect things. But when you're doing dungeons, I think the dungeon rewards, I can't tell now because it's not showing since I only have like the heroics, but regardless of the valor points, I think it was like showing like 200k XP when I was handing in quests, and I was noticing that I was getting much more XP per quest than I was doing with just doing dungeons. So I was like, you know what? Instead of going through the dungeon route and spamming there for hours upon hours on end, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do the quest. So I winded up doing all the quests in each and every zone, and I winded up hitting Kunlai Summit as well. I was in the village, I was at the Isle of Reckoning. There were some quests that sometimes they would bug out a little bit. You would have some issues with certain quests. You might have to drop one. It was kind of annoying here and there. So Blizzard, please fix your damn game. Much love to you. But I highly recommend, if you want to hit 90 as efficient as possible, first things first, get a job. That's probably a good starter, and just take your time with the game and enjoy yourself. But I really recommend, straight up, just doing as many quests as possible and mixing in the occasional dungeon here and there. You don't need a mid-max, like, spamming dungeons over and over again. You could do monkey runs if you want to. I would highly recommend maybe, like a tank and a priest, or if you go in by yourself, if you're capable to AoE it down and you have the power to do so, that is great. But I really recommend, more than anything, is just doing questing more times than none, because you're going to get a lot of XP. You get a lot of good drop rates as well. Also, another thing is you're going to bump into a lot of rares, which along the way, if you manage to get them, you can get yourself a good piece as well. Here's a piece that I got from a rare as a neck piece. I got this, a 440 neck piece from a rare that I winded up farming. I believe I farmed this rare in Talong Steppes, and it was kind of funny. When I was trying to kill the rare, I died, and then the other group was like getting killed, so they reset, and I winded up getting the tag, so I winded up getting the neck piece. But you can get some like 440 pieces from rares, which is really nice, so it can give you a little upstart into some gear when you hit level 90, and you can get some, at least, better gear level going into some heroics. So that's something that I've noticed off the rip. Another thing during my leveling journey too that I noticed is when you find certain areas that are hyper spawns of mobs that keep spawning and spawning, or just a good location that drops good materials, but you notice these mobs are spawning more times than none. For example, the Ruins of Dojin over here, I'm going to fly over here, and then we'll come back to the video because I want to show you this specific spot. So here we are at the Ruins of Dojin, and these are the specific mobs that you want to start looking for, like the Dajani mobs, right? Now, the Dajani mobs, for the most part, if players are not there, it's not contested. You can pull all these mobs, into one big AoE massive pool if your class is capable of handling it, and you can keep spinning them over and over again. They drop a lot of raw gold. They drop a lot of materials, such as the Windwool Cloth, which is super important right now. And this is something that I did as I was questing. I've noticed that it was chunking me a good amount of XP, and it was giving me a better uptick. Instead of like my other guildmates who were just like spamming dungeons, I was getting a little bit of ahead of the curve just from just farming natural mobs in the world and continuously doing quests in this area as well, while also farming, making materials and or getting materials and getting money. So this is like, you know, key little cheeky spots like this which are really good to farm. And I honestly think stuff like this is a good little hyper spawn if you want to go here. If you prefer going in Talong Steppes and maybe farming around Crevice. Crevice is a really good spot where there's a lot of mob density there too. You could put a lot of AoE farming there and kill a bunch of mobs, and during the quests when you have one of the monument things that you have to grab for like the clues over there, you could just pull a bunch of mobs in that specific area as well and do some AoE farming to get a lot of XP as well. So I'm here to just say it's not like the most min-max farm you could do. I know, shout out to the world first 90 who hit the, I believe he hit level 90 in like 3 hours, but they were doing like an elite mob farm spawn where they just had 2 types of elites hyper spawning and just pulling them all together and just mob tagging all the way to like level 90 in 3 hours. I'm just showing you the more realistic way of how to get to 90 legitimately. It takes, I would say, around 17 to 18 hours if you were to put that time in to hit 90 just by playing the game as natural. Now let me just say this real quick. This is not the most efficient way for you probably to get to level 90, but 18 hours in comparison to the 3 hours, in comparison to the monkey spam runs that a lot of people are doing, I think it's pretty damn good. I think it's pretty damn solid. I'm not here trying to speed run it. I was just playing the game, doing quests, and excited to see each next zone because I've never really got into MoP before, and this is really my first legitimate time of just playing the game. So I really feel like that's kind of the best advice I can give you. Is just go zone to zone. Literally just clear out the zones as best as you can, and eventually you're going to start noticing, wait, I'm starting to get up on the bar more quicker than none, and then do your occasional dungeon to get, like, you know, that chunk of XP in to fill in the gap, and then go to another zone and start doing quests there. That's really all you need to do. And then at that point, it's really just, you know, getting your gear up, right? Like right now we're at 9,400 gear score. We got a couple decent heroic weapons and a couple decent enchants on certain things that we're working on. We're getting our tailoring up, we're getting our professions up. At this point, it's now about just hitting dailies, doing heroics, and prepping for, you know, the next wave of content coming, right? So this is really what we are doing at the moment. We're also going to be doing some PvP as well, but that's pretty much the sense of the video. Just letting you guys know it's really efficient just to play the game as it is, and I really highly recommend do not spend your time just spamming dungeons over and over. In my opinion, I think that leads to faster burnout than it leads to actually enjoying what the world has to offer, because there's so much good quests that are around for you to get a chunk of like XP so fast, so expeditionally well. Like there was points where I was handing in quests for 200k, 300k, 400k, 500k, 600k hand-ins way faster than I would do with a dungeon, and it was just rapid, boom, boom, boom. So like I think that's the best thing that I can recommend to you guys, is just playing the game at your pace, doing the quests. Don't spam dungeons because you will get burnt out, and it's not many dungeons to spam if you think about it. You get the first 2, then you unlock another 2, and that's really there's like, you know, there's more than 2. I'm not gonna say there's not a lot, but like there's not that much to like spam where the content doesn't get, you know, dried out. So just really pace yourself, because you're gonna have to do these dungeons at some point at a higher level, right? When you start doing, you know, heroics, or you start doing celestials. So like really just take it easy and, you know, heed to my advice. Just do the quest, because then eventually you're gonna have to start doing the dailies, right? And once you start banging out those dailies, that's gonna lead to the rep grinding and stuff of that nature. But yeah, all in all, yeah, 17-18 hours we hit level 90. That's pretty much the census of the video. Nothing too high quality edited or anything of that nature. Much love to you. We'll be live on the Twitch tonight if you want to see some tomfoolery and a little bit of fucketry. Much love to you. I'll catch you on the next one. Keep on keeping on, and have a damn good one. Love ya. Peace, bitch.